Yes, I made it. He's at the top. I will also send it. I will try. I told you, if Yesta can do it, I can do it. I'm joking. However, I'm here on the kayak. There's nothing else here to film. Welcome back to Fear of Falling Masterclass. Today's episode is on deep water soloing. My friend and I just had a lovely session, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to talk about this kind of climbing. When I discovered about deep water soloing, I was mostly thinking about a very dangerous kind of climbing that related a lot to free soloing. However, my friends actually told me that they have been deep water soloing before, and it is possible to try even if you're not a professional climber. Of course, it is a dangerous type of climbing. However, just as with anything, it's about risk minimization and fear management. So, for the first message I would like to give in this video is that deep water soloing might be much more accessible than what most climbers may think. For example, we warmed up on a route that was a traverse and definitely wasn't up high. It was fairly easy, the grade was around a 4 or 5, and the risk was pretty low. Of course, the most important thing is that you know what you are doing. You have to go to places that you know were checked for deep water soloing, that the water is deep enough, that there are no rocks underneath, and that you can do this safely. First of all, it's important that you understand where is the no-fall limit for you. How comfortable you are jumping off of a cliff really depends on your experience, on how much you're used to diving. This depends on multiple variables. Also, there's a very big difference between a controlled fall and an uncontrolled fall. So, no matter what you're climbing, it's important that you're trying something that is well within your physical limits. This day, the hardest thing that I climbed was a 5, and I have climbed 7B before. So I knew everything was well within my physical limits. Of course, you can climb closer to your maximum level. However, if you're above 10, 15 meters, you really don't want to have an uncontrolled fall. So first of all, recording deep water soloing is not easy. And also, you might not realize that sometimes you really have to just swim to a place to start deep water soloing. I find it pretty cool, but it's not super easy. So here I am. I'm trying to do my best, so please like and subscribe if you want to support me. Sometimes just getting started on the wall is the hardest thing. It's so much more difficult than a sit start, especially when you're underwater. Yes, you swim with your climbing shoes on. It's just a lot of slippery feet. However, I found that I love deep water soloing for one specific detail. It's not the risk, it's not the adrenaline, it's not the nature, it's the fact that you're climbing routes with your friends. If you notice many times, you would see that there is more than one person on the wall at the same time. And as soon as we can communicate enough with each other, then really company makes the difference. I can't stress enough how much having someone that can help you going through the route, especially if you're on sighting and you're unsecure what you're having in front of you, can make the difference. For example, David and Elias were struggling, trying to find the way for the route that they were climbing, and they were well past their no-falling zone. So they knew that they didn't want to jump into the water from that height. It was at least 10-15 meters. The route that they're climbing is probably around 20 meters. They also knew that down climbing was a lot of effort, so they had to go forward. Of course, they were scared and they were helping each other out a lot. This was my second time deep water soloing, and I tried different routes. But my main objective, of course, I wanted to send the route, but my main objective was to become more comfortable and more confident compared to last time, in which I I was very, very, very scared, and I was happy to know that I was able to improve with all the jumps, all the falls, and the moves that I was able to do. And I'm willing next time to try to push my comfort zones a little bit forward so that I can try to actually send the route. Will you? Okay.
I found a thick jug here, so I assume this is some sort of start.
Ali, yes.
How did that reply?
Yay. Good.
I jammed my foot in that crack.
Right?
I did a jug, so fantastic.
Yeah, it's all jugs in the end there.
Maybe it's a bit more growthy than I didn't think things through, Dennis.
I'm never getting it good, that's no work.
As always, when it comes to managing fear of falling, we always have to go through the two different steps. One is desensitization and the other one is fear management. So with desensitization, what you do is you take controlled falls and you try to understand what is your limit. And this is what I was saying for the no fall zone. When it comes to deep water soloing, after a certain height, the impact with the water can be fairly strong. Even if you know how to fall, even if you know how to dive, you can still have pretty strong impact on different parts of your body. One of the most dangerous one is the neck. So it's important that you protect yourself when it comes to falling and diving, and you know what you're doing. This can require quite some time and some training. Diving, it's a dangerous sport, and you need to learn how to dive.
Guys! David! What's the beta for Gösta? Basically.
That is just straight up, or?
I have no idea.
So when it comes to desensitization, it is important that you learn what your limit is and what kind of impact you're comfortable with. And then there is fear management. When it comes to deep water soloing, I don't freak out when I'm climbing. I just don't commit. I am not able to commit unless I'm aware or I know what I'm gonna find in the next place. But everything that was climbing there was basically an on-site. So for me, knowing that the top of the route that I was climbing was a slab with slopers really didn't make me feel like I wanted to climb it, and didn't make me want to go forward. Then my no-fall zone was a deal breaker for me. And probably next time I will try to ask David, who is the crazy guy that does backflips on the wall, to help me and guide me through the holes and the moves so that I can feel more comfortable. And I think I can improve a lot with that.
A bunch of us went deep water soloing together last weekend. I had no specific plans on what to climb, but one of us had climbed the first half of our route there before, and now he wanted to attempt to climb the whole thing. When we were swimming out to the crag, he got on that route right away. I saw him and I got inspired, so I started following him. The route is more than 20 meters high, and there's a very good rest halfway up. That's where he had decided to jump off last time he tried it. It's a bit of a point of no return for those of us who aren't comfortable with jumping into water from more than 10 meters up. He comfortably and quickly climbed to the halfway point rest, and we chatted with each other and cheered each other on the whole time we were climbing. Anyway, I managed to climb to the rest as well, and there was room enough for both of us. But I felt comfortable enough to carry on right away. Everything had felt doable so far, even if it was more or less an on-site for me, and I had to search for holds the whole time. So I started climbing further, but after a few meters I got myself into a bit of trouble. I had accidentally climbed a bit away from the route and come to a place where I couldn't find good enough holds to continue. And I also had trouble climbing down because I only had a high slopey undercling and the lower foot was pretty far down. I got support from my friend and co-climber though. He checked in on me, made sure I wasn't panicking, and made me feel comfortable. I managed to remain calm, and after about 10 minutes of standing there and trying to figure out what to do, I did the hard down step. Then I traversed to the right and ended up back on the route. It was very nice to have decent holds again. After a few meters, I ended up in the route's second very good rest, at around 3/4 up. While I stood there resting, I talked to my friend some more about how it wasn't too bad to climb to where I was, as long as you don't take the wrong path like I did. He seemed confident and quickly climbed up to the second rest. We could both get there together, but by that point he was eager to get to the top, so he just continued. The rest of the route was probably the easiest part, but since it was so high up, you still had to stay calm and focused. We kept chatting as he quickly made his way to the top. And when he was up, I got started on the last part and I got support from him all the way. I climbed the last part very slowly and deliberately since I was at around 20 meters up at that point, and I really didn't want to make any mistakes. Luckily there were no slips and I managed to top it out as well. The route was so much less intimidating thanks to the support we got from each other along the way. It felt a lot like a team effort. We shared a big hug as soon as we were both safely at the top, so happy to have made it up there together.
I hope that maybe this video made you feel a bit more comfortable with the idea of trying it out. Even though you might not be a super strong climber, everyone has their own challenge and you can find the one that fits you. You don't have to find something super hard to do deep water soloing. It's always about doing manageable steps. Everything doesn't need to be revolving around deep water soloing. What you're doing is spending time with your friends, in nature, doing stupid challenges, and just having a great time with friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you in the next video, and stay psyched.